Oh, hi, my name is Gudrun from GE Designs, and welcome to my live quilting chat, Tipsy Tuesday. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show tonight, Tipsy Tuesday, on this wonderful Tuesday. Fall is in full swing here in Minnesota. We're feeling it today. If you're new around here, make sure you say hi in the comments and state where you're coming from or tuning in from. We are live both on Facebook and YouTube, so make sure you comment more. You know, we have a live winner every single show. $25 gift cards are up for grabs, so make sure you comment. We love our little hearts and thumbs up, and of course, subscribe to our pages and like them. Then you will never miss a show because, yes, not only do we have a $25 gift card for a live winner each show, we also have a giveaway question at the end. So you want to stick with us throughout the show. On today's show, I'm going to show you some tricks on folding your fabric. If you have a big piece of fabric and you want to cut it with your Stripology ruler, you of course have to fold it into fourths. And I just recently noticed some questions and people having a little trouble with it, so I'm going to give you some tips on that. And I will also be talking a little bit about Christmas in Europe and our Fast and Furious Club, our two programs that have just recently kicked off. And then I have tons of fabric to show you. So before we do all that, we have to announce our winner from last week's show. Our winner, our question, our last week's show was, have you ever done a mystery block of the month before? And of course, I wanted you to tell me if you have done a mystery quilt ever before. Our winner from last week is Mary Thurer. She says, yes, it was fun and fun to wait for the next block. So, of course, this one is kicking off with a bang. This Christmas in Europe, the first block went live last week and everybody's loving it. So I am thrilled to hear, we are thrilled to hear that you're loving it and excited for next month.
Hi everybody.
Before we say that, say hi to Mr. HP. Technically, this is his birthday show. Yay! His birthday is coming up tomorrow, so everybody wish Mr. HP a happy birthday. We of course couldn't do this without him. So wish him, oh, he's wishing himself a happy birthday. Yay. Isn't that great? So, yeah, happy birthday, honey.
Thank you.
Hope you're enjoying getting a year older.
Love it. So wonderful.
It is. It's a blessing. Now, before we talk about a little bit more about Fast and Furious Club and Christmas in Europe, I wanted to just talk about a few things because we keep getting those of you that are new to our programs and finding your files and your videos and all that, I thought I would talk about a few things. This is mostly because we are getting multiple emails a day with each of these questions. So, just a few things to remember. If you are part of how to access your Fast and Furious Club patterns and videos, or Christmas in Europe, or any of our digital patterns or products. So first off, make sure you're logging in with your correct email. And when I say correct, maybe I should say appropriate email, because many people have multiple accounts. It's all based on your email that you used when you purchased the product. When digital products are purchased, they get locked in with the email that you purchased with. That is for security reasons, and we can't change that. So it is locked in with the email that you purchased with. So if you have a different PayPal email than the email that you normally use, make sure you're using the one that you normally use. And the best thing to make sure that you are logged into through the email that you want to use, and you want all your products to be accessible through that account, just make sure you log in before you buy, and then that will be locked in. So we cannot merge email accounts or different accounts. It's security reasons again. Email is the only thing. If people were to call us from all over and say, put this in this email, that's just, we can't do that, security reasons. So we can't merge them. You can have two accounts, no problem. If you purchase some things with an old email and then you have a new email, that's not a problem, as long as you just remember your password and everything. And of course, if you don't have access to that email anymore, that's going to be a problem, because if you forget the password, that might be a problem. All right, so that's number one thing. Second, once you log in, once you figure out how to log in, you will find all of your purchases under your account, and you find that blue bar that says My Downloadable Files. Click on that, and there you'll get all of your digital purchases. So find your pattern, or like Fast and Furious Club, you click on that, then it'll have the patterns come up first. And so whenever you click on a pattern or a PDF, it automatically downloads to your device. So don't always go into your account to look at your pattern. When you download it, it saves on your device. Sometimes it's your downloads folder. It depends on your device. So make sure you find it on your device, because every time you click, you're adding another download, and you don't want to fill up your device with multiple versions of the same pattern. So find that. Now, then I wanted to tell you that the videos, if there's videos with the product, like Fast and Furious Club and Christmas in Europe, the patterns will come first, and then if you keep scrolling down, that's where the videos will become. You'll find those, and you click on those, and you watch them right from your account. You cannot download them. They are huge. You have to stream them. So you can watch them as many times as you want. Downloads on patterns is a different thing. But you can view the videos as many times as you want. Pause, go back, do whatever you want. They're going to be down below the patterns. Sometimes, based on your device, you might have a screen and then a scroll bar on the side. So it all depends. So if you don't see the videos right away, just keep scrolling. If you're on a phone, you have to keep scrolling. If your video is having trouble loading, or it's buffering, if you get that ticky circle across the middle of your screen, that means it's buffering. And the reason for that is inadequate bandwidth, or internet is not good enough. So you might need to kick other household members off the internet while watching, or you can try pausing as it buffers to try and fix things. But that is all based on your Wi-Fi or your internet connection. So unfortunately, that we cannot help you with that one, except we will give you permission to get better internet, get better service. Now, if any other questions you have, direct all your questions to our help email, help@gequiltdesigns.com. We don't always catch messages on Facebook, and Facebook is not a great way to communicate about customer service things. All right, especially not in a group where we're not always watching what comes through. Email is always the best way. All right, is that good? Any questions on any of these things? All right, so let's talk a little bit about my quilts behind me. I see there's already questions. Do you have, so the one right behind me is a new kit that we have. This is Strippy Forest. It is out of my book, Stripology Mixology. This one is a kit we put together with Tim Holtz's Christmas time fabric. We did a similar quilt last year kit, and it sold out really fast. So this is his newer line, a really cool, I'm going to talk about that later and show you the quilt in a bigger view. The one in the corner is Valerie, and then the one on the cabinet here is Venus. So I'm going to talk more about all of them because we have fabric to match all of these tonight. So you may have, if you have purchased the Christmas in Europe kit and received an invoice, first off, if you received an invoice, please let us know if you're not going to take the kit, because there's people waiting for those. If you are going to, please pay your invoices as soon as you can. Those of you that have already paid, I sent you a little email yesterday and today regarding the dark background fabric in the kit. There's a little bit more delay than we expected on the spotted that I'm using, so we have an alternate. So I need to know if you're okay with it or if you want to wait for the spotted. So check your email, check your spam. That email should have came straight from me, Gudrun at Quilt Designs. So so I also got a question about the first video of Christmas in Europe. When I was, I was working on, we taped these a while ago, and of course I had to work with what I had, and so the white background I'm working with in the videos is not the same one as you have in your kit. That one wasn't available yet, so I had to get going with what I had, or what I could use, what I had enough of, really, truly, from my stash, what I had enough of. So, so just note that you did nothing wrong. There might be just a little slight different on the background fabric I'm using in the videos. So no worries. All right, I did show you the block last Friday on the first block and the little sugar plum fairies that we'll be working on throughout the program. And I'm very excited. I'm seeing lots of great trees so far. And I wanted to say, yes, I was in Iceland this past weekend. It was a quick little trip, going to visit family and friends and work on a really special project for a really short time. So I was really thrown off with, of course, a turnaround this quick with the jet lag and the time difference. So I was quite the zombie yesterday, and Sunday was, yeah, I was very loopy. Not normal for me, is it?
Not at all.
Yeah, I think I was knocked out in bed before 9 o'clock last night, which is so not me. But then, of course, I was up at 4. Yes, it's a problem. So I have to stay up later tonight so I can try and switch back. All right, so let's move on to Fast and Furious Club. The first project, our September project of Fast and Furious Club, went live on Monday. The first project was, of course, our table runner, Confetti Betty. So do you have a photo of all of them to put up on the big screen? So I've made 5 of them. Here are 4. They are so fun to make, and I've already seen a few of those that are finished already. Those of you that are finished already, many are saying they're going to be making multiple, so I can't wait to see more. So make sure you post them in the crew. We'll always do a little slideshow once I have quite a few up before the October project goes live. We'll have a slideshow of all the Confetti Betties, probably like mid-October. So you got some time. You got some time to be included in the slideshow. Any questions on Fast and Furious Club? Are you enjoying it? Yeah, some are still hoping to get a Christmas in Europe kit, and don't worry, it just may take a while, but once we have figured out everybody that reserved one, we will kind of get an estimate on how many we will have, so we might be able to pre-sell those. So Valerie, yes, Valerie is a single pattern, Jane. The one hanging behind me, it's kind of, I don't know, it kind of gets missed because I think it just looks really hard, but it's really very much simpler than it looks. Promise you that, like most of my patterns. All right, so I did have a lot of questions. Oh, wait a second. Let me answer this first. Do you know when the background for this is probably supposed to be Christmas in Europe, will be available? The gray background, no, we are waiting just, if you got the email from me with, if you wanted the replacement, we are hoping to receive that by the end of the week and be able to cut it, bag it, and get it out to you next week. So if you wanted to do the replacement with the thatched instead of the spotted, you should be seeing a shipping notification next week. Yes, we are on it. We're on it. Any update on the Christmas in Europe backing only? Same thing. We're waiting to finalize all of our kits. Then we really know what we have left, and we'll put them up on the website in 3 yards and 1 yard. So just hang tight. Can charm packs be used for the Confetti Betty table runner? No, I think it is a little too small. You can probably adjust it and use it, but it wouldn't really be a great use of it because you're cutting it into different widths. So, of course, if you want to use something, go for it. I'm not the one to tell you no. Be a rebel. But it's not the best use of your fabric, and I think it may be a little too short. Where did you get my shirt? It's beautiful. Oh, somewhere online. To tell you that, I don't shop anywhere else. If I can help it. I don't enjoy shopping other than quilt shop shopping. Did you make a personal quilt out of black and gray in the Valerie pattern? Yes, yes, I did it out of, it was out of a basic gray line, you know, similar to Boudoir that we have in stock now, the Boudoir bundle. So it was those similar colors, and I used white for the accent. And so the pattern cover is a totally different look. It's very colorful with a gray accent. So you can just make them so many different ways. Is there a way to see the Christmas in Europe fabrics? Yes, if you click on the, going into the website. And so the kit is up on the website. It says sold out, but there's photos of the fabrics there. For sure. All right. Any more questions? Great questions. Thanks, everybody. So making a fall confetti Betty. Sandy's working on a fall confetti Betty. Yeah, she goes together fast, I'm telling you. Like the biggest time-consuming thing is piecing the strips with the different units, and that is not time-consuming at all. So that's how fast she goes. Love that. All right, so I was going to show you some tricks on folding a fabric when you're using a Stripology ruler to cut, you know, strips before you subcut them. You have to fold it into 4. So you fold your bolt fold over your selvages to get, and you have to make sure those 2 are straight. So I'm going to give you some tricks on folding. So first off, when you get your fabric, I'll just get these things out of the way here. So when you get your fabric off the bolt, it's very rare that we get a perfectly perfect bolt fold. That is with selvages perfectly aligned. So this one is a little bit off here, which is okay. So what you want to do if you feel like it's really crooked off of the bolt like this, what you want to do is take your fabric. I have another piece here. You want to take your fabric. I usually open it all the way up. You always want to press your fabric really well before you do any cutting. So I would just open up my fabric, press it, and especially press the bolt fold if it was really crooked. And then you want to take and align your selvages. And so when you're lining your selvages again, you know, it's not automatic that you should have these edges together. So what you want to do, I'm going to show you this in the front camera because it's the only way to see it. So as I hold this up, so what you want to do is you hold, I have fingers between the 2 selvages. And so you want to kind of slide one to the left or right, because you can look at how the fabric hangs on the bottom. So if it hangs right, if you push it this way and you look at it, it's hanging crooked. I don't know if you can see it. It's really hard to see it. Yeah, so you can see it's hanging kind of crooked. So if I move it the other way until I'm happy and it's kind of laying flat, and then you know it's aligned, especially after you pressed it. So then I put it down on my cutting mat, and so I'll switch to the overhead again. I lay it down on my cutting mat, and you just want to smooth it out. And you should get, when you smooth it out, you should get a nice fold down here. So then that's your new bolt fold. I take this one, I always have the selvages on the top, and you want to fold this over the selvages because the selvages are never going to be straight. You can never, they're always going to be wobbly. So we want to look at this fold now that we created, the new bolt fold. And now you have another fold down here. So these 2 you want to be parallel before you start cutting. These 2 need to be perfectly parallel in order for your strips to be straight and without any elbows. So how I do that, I bring my ruler over and I find any horizontal line. What I tend to do, I use a black line when I have light fabrics. I use a white line when I have dark fabrics. So I'm going to use this 1-inch line for the bottom fold here. So I line it on the bottom fold, and then I check my upper fold and see if that one is parallel. See, it's slanting down just a little bit for me because what I'm looking at is kind of hitting right between the 12 and 12.5-inch line, but I see it's really close to the hatch marks of the white here, but it's pretty far up here. So what needs to happen? This needs to come up, this needs to go down, but very, very slightly. So I just twist this just a tiny bit. So I bring this up. So I'm just holding the top part Bring this tiny bit up and this tiny bit down. Smooth things out again and check again. As simple as that. Check again. And now I see there's a better gap here and it's the same gap over here. So now I know it's straight for me. You will notice that this is not straight on the cutting mat, but it's straight underneath the ruler. So now I'm ready to cut. So then I just make sure I have this aligned with the bottom fold. I make sure that all of my raw edges are to the left of the zero, because as I start my cutting, I just start cutting through the zero and that cleans off all of my edges and I'm good to go. Now, if you're working with single width fabric like fat quarters, then you don't have to worry about the two folds, because then you only have one fold on the bottom, and so all you have to do is make sure that the bottom fold is aligned with a line and you are good to go. Now let me give you a little bit of a trick, a cheater trick. Now sometimes when you're folding and you know you're going to be cutting strips, that you're going to be subcutting. If you know you're cutting strips, that you're going to be subcutting all of them. You're not going to use any of them for like strip piecing or anything like that. You know, then at that time it's not as important that your strips are completely straight, so you can save yourself a little more time. And you're okay if there's a tiny bit of elbow, because you cut that off. If you subcut your strips, you can still use them. Don't throw them away. If there's a tiny bit of elbow, use that for anything that's subcut. Does that make sense? So let me know in the comments if that was helpful. And ask me any questions. But this is kind of my method. I think I love having the folds on the top, so the selvage just go under. You just kind of hide them. So yeah, that's another thing somebody said. Sometimes I miss the raw edge. So when you are aligning before that first cut, so let me show you that in the overhead. Before that first cut, and you're trying to reserve fabric and make it as little as possible, make sure you check underneath. Where's my other raw edge? So my other raw edge is here, so I know I need to be around here to get that first clean cut. So always check underneath first, because otherwise you'll cut a strip and then you look underneath and whoops, it's the raw edge didn't get trimmed off. So great point there. What do you do when the raw edges on each side are off 2 inches from the top and back? The raw edges on each side are off 2 inches from the top and back. That's the only thing you can do, is trim it off. Unfortunately, it can depend on the quality of your fabric. It can all depend on how your fabric was rolled onto the bolts. Most of the companies, the really high quality quilting fabric companies, they usually roll their fabrics really nicely on the bolts. They pay attention to that, so it should never be that much. But I would, if you're using the hanging technique and it's hang and fold and you got 2 inches on each side, all you got to do is you have to cut it off. Do you cut the selvage off before folding? No, I don't. I always leave the selvages on, because believe me, sometimes I can sneak a little bit of a cut with a little tiny selvage that's going to go into my seam. So I always leave them on. Only one instance where I cut them off. You know when you sometimes get the selvage where it's tight and so it's kind of ruffling my fabric? That's when I cut that part off so my fabric can lay completely straight. There are, I don't know, it's different fabric companies, different mills that sometimes that happens. I use a binding foot and need strips 1 3/4 inch wide. Is there a trick to do that with the Stripology Ruler? Oh yes. Oh yes. So you need our chart that you can find on our website. Of course I can't find it now when I need to. Oh, here it is. So there's a chart that you can find under bonus charts and templates on our website on the top bar. And so it has all the different charts for the Stripology Ruler. So this is one of them. So if you're going to cut 1 3/4, you just find that here, and it tells you which slits to cut through first, and then you slide your ruler over and you cut again. I wanted to point to you, if you have a Stripology Ruler and you have not watched the Stripology 101 videos, I highly encourage you to do that right away. So we have part 1 through 6, and it just kind of takes you through all the different steps, take you through the different rulers and all the things that the rulers can do. So check on that. After the hanging, do you ever iron in a fold? You can. I don't really do that. I feel like I can just flatten it enough with my fingers, but you can definitely do that. If you're at your iron and you're already, you know, ironing, and you can do the whole hang-in technique, and then you can iron in a fold if you want to. Things will, of course, lay crisper that way. Love the chart, so that's good, that's good. I saw somewhere that somebody was having issues with their rotary cutter not cutting through the strips on the top or somewhere along the way, like not the whole way. Most of the time, and this is something I talk about in the first Tribology 101 video, if you have a cutter like this, you want to make sure to look at, or any cutter, you want to check out where the widest part of your blade is, because we're cutting through a ruler, through the fabric to the cutting mat. So we have to have the widest part of the blade be down. So what happens when we're cutting, going forward with our angle, we start with a good angle, you got a good blade, but as you move your hand away from your body, sometimes that angle drops, and what happens is that you're losing your blade. So your blade is lifting off of your fabric, and that's why you're not cutting through. So with these types of cutters, you want to make sure you start at an angle and you keep that angle all the way through. And at the same time, if you have an ergonomic cutter where the widest part of the blade is in this position, you want to keep that position all the way through and not lift those guys up, because they will make the blade disappear and then you won't reach through the fabric. I hope that makes sense. That was a really quick explanation. I'm missing it, but how many red and white blocks do we need? Well, it should be in your pattern. Should have 5 fabrics, you're making 8 of each. Yes. So I'm not going to talk about specifics in each pattern. Is there a reason you bring the fold to the selvage and not the selvage to the fold? Yes, it's easier on my eyes than to have those selvages be right in front of you, and you need to look above for the fold. It's easier just to hide it so it does not mess with your eyes. Believe me, I've taught so many classes on using the rulers. This is, for me, the best way, and the best way to teach, and the best way to learn. That's my reasoning. Picked up fabric from my Christmas and New Year. I'm not sure if I answered this, but do you start your fabric before cutting? You can if you want to. I did not do that with mine, but you absolutely can if you want to. There's plenty of fabric in the kits and in the fabric requirements to do so. So you can do that if you want. All right. And if you wanted to do that, even just starching your fat quarters, that would be probably plenty. Cindy, is there a way to decrease static when using the XL? My fabric is clinging to the ruler, I'm assuming. So when turning the ruler to subcut. So that is probably because your ruler is brand new. Once you take the plastic off of it, and then it might cling to the fabric a little bit. So get a little dryer sheet, rub on the back. It's the same thing to get static cling out of pants. It will take a little while, but it should disappear after a while. If it's clinging still, I would, use a little dryer sheet or something like that. Can you use the ruler to cut length of fabric? No, the slits are not long enough. You are cutting, the length of fabric. Got it. It depends on how long you're talking. I mean, probably not 15 yards, but you can. I have done that in videos. It's all about the folding. You would have to make more folds, and so you can definitely do that. Just making sure that all those folds are parallel. Same thing, but you have to fold it down to the size to about 13 inches to be able to do it through the ruler slits. So, all right. More questions? Great questions tonight. Oh, by the way, love the GE shuffle. Yeah, so like we told you earlier, Mr. HP's new job is it's going to be a favorite because he's already done how many? His little fun TikTok videos from the warehouse, from I think he did a Gertie video today. Gertie was quilting, so
she's the dance machine
so
today.
he called her the dance machine because she was dancing across the quilt with her stitches. So that was fun. It's just fun, just for fun, and we post them on Facebook too. So, okay. All right, Sharon says, once you do the fold, the way Gudrun does is you'll never go back. Does starch interfere with heat and bond? I've never heard that it would. I don't think it would, but I never heard that it would. So I would say it should be fine. I think I've used starch fabric with heat and bond just fine. Do you change a blade with each new project? Oh no. You know us. We will use that thing until you know what. As soon as I feel the resistance, and as soon as I feel like I need to put extra weight, I change my blade. Because also what you're doing by having to do extra weight on your blade to cut through fabric, you might be kind of lessening the life of your cutting mat. So you don't want to do that. And plus, when you're pushing, you know, it just, things might get more askew. So you want it to be smooth. But each project is way excessive, I think. It just depends on like how much cutting you're doing. But mine last probably about a month, I would say. A month, maybe 6 weeks, depends on how much I'm doing. But I quilt a lot. How to use Tribology ruler with a very large piece of fabric, like a 3-yard. So, great question. I kind of showed it. I've showed it in videos before when we're doing projects from bigger yardage. So I would press my whole piece. I would fold my whole piece in half and do the quarter fold. So folding the bolt fold over the selvages and the whole thing. And then, depending, I would start on the right side and fold my fabric up. And then just use one piece of under the ruler, do my cutting, and then I open up, pull it over, and then you have to just make sure that you readjust with the 2 folds with the so they're parallel. But yeah, I have no problem doing that. What brand and model is Gertie? Her name is Gertrude. Gertie. Oh, we found out something interesting. I have to tell them this story because I wanted to name her Gertrude and Gertie for short, and he was so against it. He was so against it. What did you want me to call her? What did you want to name her?
I can't remember. You pushed it out of my brain.
Okay, so he was adamant on something else. He did not like Gertie at all. And then we find out he remembered, because his sister reminded him,
Yeah.
that their grandma's name was Gertrude. Gertie for short. And guess what? She was a quilter. How cool is that?
She was a great-grandmother, too.
Oh, she was your great-grandmother, yeah.
No, she was a great-grandmother.
Oh, she was.
I just didn't know her as much because I was so young when she passed.
Yeah. But I think that's fabulous. So she was
Yeah.
always meant to be called Gertie.
Sure. I love the name now.
Yes. But Gertie is an Innova machine. Now, I don't remember model numbers and stuff. She's the biggest throat space, or the biggest quilting space. I had to get that because I love that. And we have the autopilot and all that. So it's not the widest frame because it just didn't fit in the room.
Yeah.
How many layers of fabric do you cut through? So what I recommend, if you have a 45mm cutter, I recommend no more than 4 layers of fabric. You can sometimes do 6. And if you have the big 60, which if I'm quilting and making a quilt myself, that's what I use. I use this one for demos. That one, you can cut 8 layers, sometimes 10, sometimes 12. But here's what happens with more layers. You know, the ruler does not move on your fabric, but fabric starts to move on itself. So you might have to just push harder and have more pressure on your ruler when you're cutting more and more layers. But I would say 4 and 8 is kind of the general rule.
We got lots of aunts and moms out there named Gertrude.
Gertrude, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet.
It's really cool.
Oh, other grandmas too. I love that. It was meant to be. That name was meant to be, and I think that really solidified it. It was very special. So, all right, we have a lot of fabric to show you tonight, so I want to get to that because I'm excited to show you. Of course, you know that. But I think we've answered a lot of questions. Again, I want to just encourage you, and even if you've seen these videos before, Stripology 101, Part 1 through 6. You always find something in there that you maybe forgot. All right, so let's start with the kit behind me, the quilt behind me. So we have the kits, and let me just show you quickly what they look like. So you have all the different fabrics for the trees, the tree trunk, the border, the background, and then the plaid fabric. What I did in here is that you have enough fabric to either use the red for your binding, if you want to utilize the leftovers of your red for your binding, or if you want to do it with the plaid. So I included enough fabric. You'll have leftover, of course, but I just wanted to have that option since we did the binding in the plaid. And so can you put that quilt up on the screen? So this is in the store already, and didn't I put the quilt in there? Oh boy. Okay. Sorry, honey, but I have a photo here. So at least I can show you that. It was beautiful. So this one is on the website. In the listing, you'll see a better photo of the whole quilt. But yeah, we used the plaid binding along with just the inner border. So you can do either or. And it has this extra instruction sheet will tell you how to do things with the because the fabrics are directional, the background is directional, the borders are directional, so it shows you how to do everything and to make it work out perfectly. I love this background. It's the Christmas carols notes, like music sheets. So love this. So this is available in the store for the lap size. And then before I show you anything else, I wanted to show you, we always are getting some 1 yards in. I love this. We got some sewing Notion fabric, black and white, with a great fun stripe. Would be cool for bags or sewing stuff, but they're kind of vintage Notions with a vintage machine and scissors. Some not so vintage things too, like a rotary cutter. That's not that vintage, I would say, but I think it's a really cool print. So that's in our 1 yards. And we have a very anticipated fabric partly in store. So we have the Midnight Magic 2, the layer cakes, and the charm packs. So we are doing bundles with this, but the fabric yardage is not in yet. So the bundles will come a little bit later. But I used the charm pack for my little Helena quilt. That was a pattern that came out earlier. And so I just used a single background and some of the charm packs from that. And then you just need a border. Of course, I didn't have this fabric yet, so I just used any kind of a black, what is this, like a spider web? Yeah. So this is little Helena. And then you saw the Valerie quilt behind me, and I made 2 quilts. So the Valerie quilt is made with 10-inch squares. Even though I used the bundle for both the Valerie quilt and this quilt, this is Casanova. So I took my bundle and cut it into 10-inch squares and then 2.5-inch strips. So I was able to make the Valerie and this one. And so I used the strips and then this background fabric, which we are getting for yardage. We're going to have this one in 3 yards and 1 yards. Oh, and also the binding. This plaid. We will have that in 1 yards. But 1 3-yard was enough for a small Casanova, and I also used it in the Valerie quilt. But I got 2 nice size quilts out of this bundle, and then had some little strips left behind for a little topper even. So I love that one bundle can be so much. So can we show them the quilt in the corner a little bit? That's the Valerie. So you can see that same white fabric I used as the accent. So really love that. So we are anxiously waiting for Midnight Magic bundles, but we got the first look of them. All right, so then we have lots of bundles. So I'm going to start with something really colorful called Hummingbird Heaven. Hummingbird Heaven is mostly shades of blue and then these beautiful bright accents in pink and fuchsia and lime green, and so just and a little bit of yellow. So this is the hummingbirds on the light blue, and they have a little bit of a watercolor feel, some of them. And then we have this beautiful floral with some of the pinks and the yellows on that blue background. Another large florals, all the flowers that the hummingbirds love, just gorgeous, really pretty, on that light blue again. And then we have kind of a watercolor marbling effect print with all the colors again, the greens and the pinks. And we have this pattern. This kind of looks like a gorgeous either tile, or can you imagine like a fence in the garden around your hummingbird garden? It's beautiful. And then we have the hummingbirds on tone on the brighter blue. We have into the dark blue with a little bit smaller print with the hummingbirds. Isn't this pretty? We got, I think these are supposed to be, what, pansies on the smaller scale. We have the same print here in the dark blue. And then the lattice in the dark blue with the pink accents. I love the kind of gradation effect. And then we have the purple with the hummingbirds. So 12-piece bundle, gorgeous. Really colorful and pretty. So I did a pull, of course. I started here on this end with some of the purples. So I picked the Spectrostatic Amethyst as my darker purple, and then the Thatched Plum as the lighter tones that are throughout, into a little bit of the dark navy. So I did the Grunge Peacoat because it does have a little bit of purplish in there as my dark navy. And then I threw in some of the pinks. So I did a bright fuchsia. This is the Spectrostatic Electrica with the darkest pinks, and then a little bit lighter, the Bumbleberries and the Pink Burst. Really tones well with some of the lighter pinks in everywhere. And then, of course, I had to get a light blue that worked with some of these tones. So the Jot Dot and the light blue is a great match. And then some accents. I felt like there's no print that is yellow, but there's a lot of yellow and kind of that chartreuse lime green. So the speckled and the metallic citron, and then a brighter in the nature elements and the lemonade. I love that it has that green in there. So really nice and bright with these beautiful fabrics. So then I figured you would probably want to know some fun prints to use as backgrounds. I felt like you could go, if you wanted a really solid, deep contrast, just go white. So the Hopscotch Cotton Ball, I feel, is a great little geometric. If you don't want it white, you could do the Flowers for Freya, has a little bit of a different tone to it. And then if you want to be really fun, utilizing all these colors, the Rainbow Sprinkles and the Hearts and Stars with that sprinkle of all the colors, or the Beguiled and the Splatter in the white. If you wanted to throw another color that would work really well, then of course we know hummingbirds and butterflies are friends. So I thought this Rainbow Sprinkles and the Butterflies Black would be really cool to use. If you wanted a border or something, this would really kind of set it off with that print. So this is Hummingbird Heaven. Really pretty, bright, and fun. And I know all of you love hummingbirds. Whenever we've had hummingbird bundles in the past, they usually disappear really fast. I have not seen many hummingbirds. We haven't put up a feeder this year, so definitely have to get on that. Get some wildflowers or something. I love them. Love watching them. All right, Hummingbird Heaven. Let's move on to the next one, which is called Madison 1. I really love this line because it's really modern. It's a free spirit line, so very unique. It is I believe 15 different prints because I could not decide. So I'm going to start with one of the big ones. So it's very geometric. Start with this one. Very geometric, very artsy, and just super cool colors. So we have, you'll kind of see the colorway as I lay it all out. It's really cool. So we have these deep reds here, and then going into a little bit of that violet color. So you'll see this is very geometric. Continuing with that deep burgundy violet and a little hint of that aqua. We have that kind of circle print here with that violet background, pulling in some of that beautifully light blue. So we'll continue on with the blues here. This print is really cool. So this is kind of an ombre, or it's, yeah, linear, but it has all these different colors. So you could cut it from different angles and get really cool different things happening in your cuts. So even though you saw this part, this you'll see flows very well into that. We have kind of a diagonal action here on this one. Another geometric print with a little bit of green, and this one pulling in a little bit of the red and the yellows. And I'm going to keep going with the yellows here. So here we have this print in that kind of a light sage green, but you have that hint of yellow and the red connecting them all. This is just so cool. And our brightest yellow print. And then we going into the more blue. So that same print on a larger scale. I love that it's the same print, but this is larger. It's kind of cool how that works out. We have a stripe that is ombre too. So different color from each end. So another fabric that has all kinds of different things going on. You cut it from one end, it doesn't look like the same fabric. And this one with the navy and the light blue. And then finally the darkest blue print here. Madison 1. This one is going to give you very similar effects in a quilt, just like, you know, the very abstract prints like Abandoned, like we had a Warehouse District. I feel like that will give you a very similar feel. So I can't wait to play with this. I haven't really decided what to do. In a way, you want the pieces to really kind of shine. But then again, I always say when you have something really cool and you cut it up small, it just gives even a cooler effect. So I think you could do a lot of cool things with this. So I did a pull, of course, and the first thing I wanted to just test out, just for you, to kind of prove my point that it works really well, it works really similar to Abandoned, is that I pulled in the 3 1-yard abandons that we have from Abandoned 2, and so they could just fall right in here and mix in here just seamlessly. So we have the burgundy in the vineyard, the Hotel Burgundy Vineyard. We have the Rue de Pelletier in the patina with a little bit of that violet purple that would flow in here, and the greens, the Abandoned and the Piano Sorte. So the aquas and the greens. So these would all mix in. That's what's really cool. So I'm just going to put them up here because I just wanted to show you that cool prints in a same style always work.
I always want to know what pattern would be.
Yeah, I mean, so I can't even think.
To pick from all your children.
I know, it's hard. So, I mean, I made out of, I keep thinking of bandits. So, I mean, I made Venus and I made...
How about Elvira?
Elvira would be cool if you really want to see bigger pieces of this. I think I made June would be great. Pick out a great backgrounds. So you could go so many different directions. So here we have, I wanted to match kind of some of the colors in here. We have Spectrostatic Navy For some of the lighter blues and the greens, I chose the Seeds and the Azure. So these are kind of the bluer blues. And then this one is more into the greens, the Jack's Fur. More into the greens in here. I did one yellow. The Solana and the Thatch Buttercup is another very similar hue here. Will give things more of a yellow pop if you want that. And then I did a green, so the canvas and the kiwi has some of the bright spots, but also the really subtle greens. And then I love this bright red and found a perfect match, the speckled and the warm red, also a cool print. And then the speckled in the purple velvet is a perfect match to this violet tone here. Now, thinking if you wanted to do something with an accent color at background, so let's say a pattern that uses a background like June, you could go light, definitely. So I love the color theory and the scribble light. That's what I used with my June and my Abandoned. And I also love this Life's Recipes and the texture. So more textural, more, I would say modern, abstract backgrounds. If you wanted to do a dark background, I have those same two in the color theory, scribble in the dark, and the Life's Recipes in the chalkboard or the black. So both of these would give great contrast. As you may know, I used a light background. I actually used a dark background for my June, but then I used a light for the same fabric for all my lights. So you could do the same technique with this with a very similar effect. So love, love, love this. Madison 1. Definitely, this bundle is not going back to the warehouse. It's staying here. Staying with Mama, going into my collection. Very cool. All right, so moving on to something fun and still gonna stay pretty colorful. This is called Jungle Paradise. So a little bit for the younger people, or if you just love tropical colors and animals. This is all from the rainforest, or the jungle, I should say. So we have some beautiful birds on this bright green. We have some elephants and tigers in this print. This is a motor line. And this is the line that we use for that Venus quilt that's on my cabinet. We got little monkeys hanging from the branches. We have that same elephant print in the green, lighter green. A little tone on tone here. And then we have the birds in the, it's almost like a turquoise. And then we have the hot pink with the frogs, like the little tree frogs. We have a little bit of a leopard print in the pink. We have the monkeys again in the pink. And then we have some pops of orange. So we have a tone on tone, small print. And we have the elephants, orange on a red background, and then a little bit lighter, brighter yellow here. So really colorful and fun for, I thought, you know, I made a crib size quilt out of the Venus. Can we just show that really quickly? I can pull it over here too. But, you know, you can only see a part of it. So I'll pull it over because I quilted it with these little tree frog a pattern. It's really cute. But I pulled a lot of, I pulled some colors for this one. So I got some great greens. We'll start with the Jot Dot green and the darkest greens here, Jot Dot green, and also the speckled and the emerald green, a little bit lighter tone. Going into some of the tropical greens that have more blue in it. So we have the floral elements in the tropical green and the Prisma elements in the La Marcie. Just a little bit of white in it, which I love. Then we have the pinks, the floral elements in the fuchsia, and the Prisma in the red rhodonite. So for those, and then for the oranges and yellows, I use the canvas orange peel as kind of has the darks and the lights, and then this one is a perfect match with that light, the apricot, the Prisma elements, and the apricot sunstone. Now, if you're new to our show, all of our fabric pulls, we photograph them and put them on our blog. So if you check our blog, these will all be on there at least tomorrow. So for a background, if you wanted to do something with a background, I thought, you know, this needs a fun white background with all the white that is in here. But how about some colorful spatter? So we have the beguiled and the spatter white, or maybe the star bright in the white. Or if it's for somebody that you love, like grandkids, the beguiled hearts in the white. If you didn't want to do colors, I love it with a white with a black on white pattern. I think that would make a really cool quilt. But let me show you the Venus up close. It is so cute. Love how it turned out. So it just goes to show that you don't necessarily have to always think about lights and darks. You can have really vibrant colors and just make sure that you have contrast within each block. And so it really is adorable. And we used some of the leftover stuff on the back. And I don't know where you can see the froggies the best. Kind of, yeah, they're over here. They're kind of like little abstract geckos. But I think that adds to it. You can see their little toes or fingers or whatever you want to call them. All right, so this is Jungle Paradise. Jungle Paradise. And that was a pre-order. So if you pre-ordered, your order should be on its way already to you. So, yeah, the warehouse is hopping these days. And we got a little break in kits to be able to get you all these new fabrics. This one is a gorgeous one. So I love it when I can get a unique colorway of classic stuff. So this one truly, truly is. So it is a classic blue and yellow, but just a gorgeous hue of yellow. It's called Gingham Foundry. It's a line by Riley Blake, My Mind's Eye. So it has just really dark blue, light blue, which is almost a grayish blue, and then just this really beautiful buttercup yellow. So gorgeous florals, but with just a little bit of an edge because of the colorway. I love that. So we have just a couple in the light blue, and then we have going into the darker blues. So dark blues, but they have that softness, so they're not too sharp. I love that they have that softness. And having that grayish light blue in here, we have a typography print. Love that. Let's read some of these. I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I hear, oh, this is the lyrics from What a Wonderful World. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. Oh yeah, that's the lyrics. Beautiful. We have a geometric print here, and then going into the yellow. Look at this beautiful floral in the yellow. We have the typography print in the yellow. A little bit of a directional print. Cream background with the yellow and navy stems. And then we have a little bit lighter with the yellow on it, and we have one plaid, yellow plaid in here. So this is the bundle, Gingham Foundry, and then we have some of the fabrics from the line in 1 yards that are not in the bundle. So they have beautiful polka dots. So the Gingham Foundry dots in the cream, and then also in the denim. So kind of the medium blue, and then also in the navy. So there's 3 shades of the dots that you could work with. And then we have also the stripe and the navy in 1 yard, because I feel like that would be great for bigger pieces where you need bigger pieces of fabric. And so I really didn't think that we needed much of a pull with this. It's a very nicely balanced bundle, lights and darks, just 2 colors. So I really pulled in some options for backgrounds, for if you wanted to do a background that would stand out from this and you didn't want something so busy like the dots. So I would still stay really soft and subtle with cream. So this is Whispers and the Dashing in the muslin color. And then also the tangles in the muslin, or you could go, the pumpkins and blossoms and the vanilla is a perfect match to these creams as well. So these would be beautiful. I found one stripe, diagonal stripe. If you wanted to add a diagonal stripe, that would work very well. The diagonal stripe in the ivory, Life's Recipes in the ivory. Works beautifully. But otherwise, I would really just let these fabrics shine and not add too much to it. They're kind of a really unique hue of yellow and these blues, so I just wouldn't want to throw something in there that's going to overpower it, and just really let them shine. So, Gingham Foundry. Love anything that has a really unique take on traditional fabrics. All right. We have one more bundle for you tonight, and this one is a unique one. Very unique one, we should say. So, are you a fan of indoor plants? They are so in these days. This one is called Patio. And it's so cool. So if for all those plant lovers, all the people with the green thumbs, not me, but I love the colorway. So this is just a little pink with all the plants, the potted plants. We have this pink print with the leaves. We have a little mosaic here going into that terracotta color. I love this color, the terracotta color with the pink pots. And then we go into the more grayish and greens. The small print with the pots. We have the mosaic again. And then we have the all over print with the, in the green. I just love these. They're so lush. These green colors are so lush and cool. We have a gray background with beautiful green leaves. We have that same print here in the green. And I just love all these different hues of green. Same print here with a little bit of a bluish green background. And then we have the darkest green with the leaves and a little bit of pink in here. So love the mix of color, very unique colors. So it's one of the things that I love when I find stuff like that. So as far as colors to pull with it, I pulled a couple of greens. So the Bumbleberries and the Enchanted Forest has a little bit of the bluish hue to it. And then the lighter one would be the Dash Flow and the Meadow and the softer greens. I, of course, had to pull a little bit more of the terracotta. Love that. So the Prisma Elements and the Dusk Zircon. And then the Dash Flow and the Brand with the lighter terracotta colors. And then just a little bit of pink. The Seeds and the Cotton Candy and the Dash Flow and the Parfait. Great two colors to go with it. As far as backgrounds, if you wanted something a little bit quieter, I think a really nice gray, something that goes with this darker gray here would be great. So the Deco Stitch Shadow is a perfect match. And then if you wanted a white background, a light background with this, of course, Botanical Journal and the Mist Gray. Botanical Journal is very fitting with the plant theme. And then so are the Flying Seeds and the Soften the Volume and the Wild Stems. Plus their color just toned beautifully with this line. So I think I'm going to have to make something for my daughter-in-law. She loves plants. I think we counted at her house. Last time I was there, their little house, they have close to 60 plants. Which, yeah, that's just a hobby. They love it. And they have an outdoor garden too. And I love it. I love it. I would just kill them all, unfortunately. That's very harsh, I know. But I think I need to make something out of these. They're so pretty. So unique for the plant lover. All right, so that is it for us. Lots of fabric, lots to look at, lots of eye candy. Now, do we have a live winner, Mr. HP, birthday boy?
Sure do.
All right, let's bring it on. Deborah Gunville Cattleman, congratulations. Your $25 gift card awaits. So just send us an email at help@gequilterscience.com and we will get you your gift card ASAP. Now you have a second chance to win, of course. I have to ask you the giveaway question. All you have to do is answer the question and then we will draw from all your answers, no matter where you're watching, and announce a winner next week on our Tipsy Tuesday show. So here's your question. Do you have indoor plants or love indoor plants? I'm sure most people have them, but do you love them and are they healthy?
Are they real?
Yes, we have a couple of real ones. A couple. And I'm proud of one of them. I've had almost since we moved in here, and that one's still alive. Easy one. The other one I got for my daughter, I think for Mother's Day a year ago, still alive. It's still full. Now, it suffered a little bit when I was gone. Of course, it always suffers when I'm gone. But it's still alive and well, but that's about it. So I do have them. I love them, but I'm just not very good at it. So I don't have a lot because there's nothing worse than a really sad, unhealthy plant. All right, everybody. That's it for us tonight. I think we're going to have a little nightcap to celebrate this guy's big day tomorrow.
Thanks, everybody, for the birthday wishes.
Yes. Thanks for being with us. Our next show will be this coming Friday. Happy Friday show, always at 3 p.m. Central Time. It's September 24th. And then our next Tipsy Tuesday is a big one. It's going to be our Christmas show. You're not going to want to miss that. We have made a ton of samples, an inspiration, glorious inspiration for the holidays projects, small, big, using all of our beautiful Christmas fabrics and holiday fabrics and winter fabrics. So don't miss our next Tuesday show, which will be September 28th. Next week at 7 p.m. We'll see you then. Bye, everybody.